welcome to another Friday night episode of Keto Rocks. I'm Jim Hobbs, and to my left or my right is my carnivore co-host, Brian Damage Forsythe of the band Kix and Rhino Bucket. Brian, how's your week going?
It's going pretty good. It's we were talking before we started. It gets dark awful early though, but it's still besides the darkness, the weather's been really nice here in Nashville. It's been in the 70s.
70s is good. It's been nice here in Virginia up until this morning, and then I think this weekend we're supposed to get some remnants of a hurricane coming up the coast with I think 3 inches of rain on Friday, and I think the high on Sunday is supposed to be like 41 degrees. So it's supposed to be cold this weekend.
Yeah, we're actually the weather's changing here too over the weekend. It's supposed to drop down into the 40s.
Yeah, so it's getting cold, so it's time to go stock up the firewood, and I will definitely. It's a great Friday. I mean, if it rains 3 inches and cold, I'm going to make a pot of chili. It's going to be a chilly weekend, so I'm kind of looking forward to that. I know Kix talking about this weekend. You guys are playing in Pittsburgh, correct?
Yeah.
So that's Friday night?
Yes.
All right, so that's tonight. So if you're watching this tonight...
Is it Friday? No, it's actually Saturday night. I'm sorry.
Okay. All right, then tomorrow night, you guys...
I fly out on Friday.
Okay, there you go. So Brian's flying tonight as he does his show.
Yeah, and if this were Friday, I'd say happy birthday, Mina, my sister.
Oh, well then, happy birthday. Good. So Friday is her birthday, right?
Yes.
Okay.
The 11th.
Okay. So happy birthday. So good. She going to show up for Saturday with you, or are you just going to hit her on the way back home?
No, I'm just flying straight to Pittsburgh and back. That's like
5 hours?
3 or 3.5 hour drive from where she is.
Okay, so it's still a good drive.
Yeah.
Okay. Now let's talk before we get into the keto carnivore talk. Let's talk about your European tour coming up. When does that kick off? Because I know you love that coming up.
Yeah. Well, it's crazy because with Rhino Bucket, it's like like every single one of these tours we've done in the past, I dread it going into it. But then as soon as I get there, I'm in the moment and I just go with it, and it turns out to be fun. It's just one of those things. I always dread it till I do it, and then I'm like, oh, that wasn't that bad. but it's just a long time away from home. I mean, with Kix, I just fly in and out. It's pretty quick, but a whole month away is just that's a long stretch. But I leave on the 3rd of January and I get back on the 30th or 31st, something like that. I forget.
Okay. Well, hopefully this happens, and hopefully you can eat your way across Europe this time. Hopefully. I mean, everything seems to be a little bit more relaxed in Europe. I haven't followed the news. I don't even watch the news anymore, so I have no idea what's happening anywhere.
I don't either. It's just I've decided to give all that up. I get like the Washington Post an email with the paper, and I'll just skim the headlines, and every once in a while I'll click on something, and most of the time I just go, I just delete it. I don't need that stress.
Well, it's funny, since we're talking about that, we had DirecTV and we did away with it, and we've gone with streaming all our channels that we like, the programming that we do like. And of course, I like sports, so I have a sports package. But what I found out by doing streaming and paying, I think, $4 extra a month, it's commercial free. So we literally for the last month now have been watching all the programming that we're interested in, but with zero commercials. And the cool thing for me, I can watch every NFL football game, and they're usually 3 hours long because you got commercials and the break and all that. But the next day they remove all of that, so I can watch a complete football game in 34 minutes and get 2.5 hours of my life back. And I can not just 34 minutes. That's how long a 3-hour game literally lasts.
It's crazy because I don't watch football, so I didn't know.
Yeah,
it always seemed like anytime I was anywhere where they were watching football, it seemed to be all day. It was like,
it is.
How long is that game?
Yes, it's usually 3-hour games for any sport. They try to make it a 3-hour event. So
that's so the advertisers can sell stuff.
Exactly. Well, that's where they get all their money from. But think about it.
Yeah.
I get a chance now, and I was telling Peggy, I had this epiphany that I said, wow, I just feel overall, I just feel more energetic and I feel clear minded. And I said, wait a minute. We have, because truthfully, I didn't even know the election was. I mean, people telling me that there was an election yesterday. I haven't even read the news, or I have no clue. I don't know who won. As a matter of fact, I don't even care anymore. That's how free I feel. And I was like, wow, we didn't watch any commercial, so we didn't get bombarded with political ads that are just hateful and full of finger pointing. We
Yeah.
don't have all the food ads, which nothing more that's trying to put toxins in your body. And then the other ads that run all the time is lawsuit
Drugs
lawyers telling
and
you
drugs.
the drug, right, and the pharmaceutical stuff. So we all that programming that they just program you with, we haven't been bombarded with it at all for the last month. And I was telling Peggy, I said, it feels so much better. Like the whole I said, we're not being bombarded with programming. I said, it feels good that we're now, it's almost like fasting. It's like we're able to eat on our terms, not eat what they're serving us. So
Yeah.
it's like we've gained back a part of our life. And so I love it. So I said, I'm not going back to that TV to regular programming when we can watch it commercial free from here on out. Like, so, and I'm saving money. So it's a win-win all around.
Yeah, I
So
got rid of my cable a while ago. The only thing I have internet, so then I got one of those little Roku boxes so I can just watch things. And it's like a streaming thing too. But I do have, there's a couple network channels I can access that have commercials, but those I just pause it and let it build up and then I can just skim through.
yeah, I mean, so that's the beauty of, and I'm reading this book called "You Are the Mountain." I think I've shared it before on this show, and I've just we talked about this before about not having those toxins in your body or really distractions, and how clear-headed thinking you are, and how you can really meditate and enjoy yourself a lot more. And I really felt, not that we ever really listen to the commercials, but you're being bombarded with that energy, and it's just most of the time it's just negative energy. And
Yeah, and it's like this subliminal thing that just it gets in there. I mean, because you're soaking it up. You don't realize that you're recording all that stuff in the back of your subconscious.
so, it really made me think. And we talked about, I think on last week, with Carrie and her story, how food really does evolve or connect to the spiritual side of who we each are. And that when we're not being programmed by outside forces, or not being taking the processed food into your body, just how more free thinking that you are. And so it's just, it's almost comical on how we so rely on processed food, and we don't even realize it's just like through a transition that we become addicted to this food, and then we get addicted to the food they tell us to be addicted to, and then we get addicted to going to these doctors for these drugs to help us deal with the after effects of what those processed foods do to our bodies. And it's like we believe we can't live without them, and when the reality of it is, it's as a society we have to start taking back our power, and thinking for ourselves and eating for ourselves, and really experience and kind of know where the food comes from. Like the fact that you can't even buy raw milk or raw food, and or you don't even, a lot of people don't even know where the food comes from. um
Yeah.
I'll never forget one time, this is years ago, but there was a lady, we were in a drought, this is probably in the late 70s, there was a real about drought going on, and they were playing over the radio about, hey, they were talking about that, we're still under some red flag alert or whatever, we're not supposed to be watering our grass and all this. And this lady in the aisle says, I don't know why they're telling us to do that. I said, well, because they got to have water, they got to serve water, because that's what we live off of, and also farmers use the water to grow the crops, so we have food. And she goes, well, I don't get my food from farmers. I get my food from the store. I mean, and so, but that just shows you where we're so disconnected from the source of where our food comes from, that we believe that someone's manufacturing our food for us in these cans. And so it has nothing to do with the weather, when that's just how out of touch we can get when we lose touch where everything is sourced from.
Right.
But talking about that, I know you've been on a bunch, or have been posting a lot, some of the podcasts you've watched, and about the different foods and the fruit juices. So tell me what you've been reading about, Brian. Share it with us.
It's funny though, every time I post something like that, there's certain ones that just spark like this cascade of people trying to defend their food. Like people, they get defensive when you tell them bread and wheat is bad for them, or
Yeah.
oats. Like
Yeah.
that one, that just went out of hand. And there was a couple people on there. I was trying to be nice and just like deflect them a little bit, and they just kept coming back and coming back. And I just like, and then I get these other people that would comment in between and just make it like escalate it, and I'm like, oh, this isn't what I was planning on doing. But, there's one guy on there that was defending his diet, and which is okay. I mean, if that's what you eat and it works for you, that's fine. But so I finally just had to tell him, these posts are directed to, the average American that's got pre-diabetes or is headed into type 2 diabetes, and has been told by their doctor to eat more whole grains and fruits and vegetables, and low fat, and they've just been misinformed. And I said that's really what these posts are. I'm trying to help those people. I said,
Right.
if your diet seems to be working, so I have no issue with that. But it's just funny. It's funny how that it just sparks those things in people. And the fruit juices, and the egg one, it's another one. God, I was going back and forth with this girl that she's actually I know the girl.
Right.
And yeah, and it's hard when you're just doing the message thing, because the person can take it any way they want. And I wasn't trying to be mean or anything, but she took it like that. It's just kind of weird. But she's one of those thinks that meat is bad for the environment, that whole thing. And
Okay.
it's just too much to explain to somebody like in a comment, it's like, I'm not trying to start an argument, but I'm just trying to point out that one is fake, one is real, and like the real one's probably healthier. That's all I'm saying. And she was like, well, maybe some people can't afford it or can't get it, or I don't know. It was just weird.
Wow.
It's
Yeah.
crazy it's just crazy how those things escalate like that.
Well, I mean, you say, that's why I really don't like texting. I know you don't like making phone calls. I don't like texting because people can interpret your text differently. So,
It's true.
they interpret it from their perspective and from their viewpoint, or what may be going on in their life. And sometimes, I want people to understand I never mean anything to be hurtful, or to be accusatory. I always want to come from a place of seeking first to understand, and I never want to point fingers, and I'm never judging anybody, because like you just said, hey, you want to eat bread? Have at it. It's not my life, it's your life. I want you to go live, and I want you to go be happy. But my experiences and what I've experienced around me for people who do eat bread, that it causes issues, it causes inflammation, it causes diabetes, it causes you to be cravings. And so for me, as much as I love bread, and Peggy makes some of the best bread you could ever taste in your life. And so I understand missing out on that, but what I miss more is being able to breathe with a clearer head, with a healthier body, and feel more energetic, and to be able to want to go truly live out a life that's involves movement and enjoyment, and not being restricted because of my inflammation. my
Right.
knees hurting, or my ankles hurting, or so. And so you're right. It's amazing how people, and I think you and I were talking off the air too, like people believe eating or drinking like these fruit juices that they sell, this orange juice that's made from concentrated orange juice, and it's just so full of sugar. And especially since most oranges are GMO, and they're just not good for us. But we've been programmed by the powers to be to believe having a glass of fruit juice every morning and our oatmeal and all this other stuff, as you said, I think you posted this week or last week, the heart healthy stamp of approvals on there. Just if you knew where the heart healthy stamp of approval, how much that was bought by the powers to be to make you to believe that heart healthy stamp is going to bring you health.
Mhm.
You're being totally fooled by the establishment, because it doesn't mean anything.
It's
What
just it's just marketing. It's a
Yeah,
marketing.
yeah, and they're doing, and look, and what they learned to do with that is what they're learning to do with keto. So keto certified, boom, like somehow putting the word keto certified makes it, oh, this is healthy now. No,
Right.
it's a processed piece of crap that's got keto certified on there, so you'll buy it. So for those who don't go out there and do their own education, or go out and explore and find people who are giving you the path to live a cleaner lifestyle, you'll buy that and they'll have you hooked. And that's really the bottom line. And it's so sad that we've come to this. And one of the things I realized by not having those TV commercials is that we're not inundated with fast food of Wendy's and hamburgers and all this crap food. And for those out there who do have those addictions, I feel sorry for them, because most of America, they suffer from that sugar addiction, that carb addiction. And so every time that commercial comes up there, it's triggering them. They don't even know it. Subconsciously, it's triggering them to want to go have a Happy Meal or a piece of bread, or go to Wendy's or Taco Bell. And
Yeah,
it's
I know, and I know exactly what that feels like, because if I'm just like scrolling along, say like online somewhere, and there's somebody posts or like on Instagram, and somebody posts like this really nice looking piece of cake. I haven't had cake, well, since my birthday, but or since Mark's wedding. That was the last piece of cake I had. So
Other
that
than
was
that, I've had no cake.
a little more recent. But yeah, but I don't eat that stuff anymore. And when I don't think about it, it doesn't bother me, but I can see a picture of it, and it'll, like, my mind just goes, oh man, that looks good. And I have to go away from it. I can't like obsess on it, because that's still there. The addiction's still there. It's just waiting.
So think about, that's you, and you, at least you're aware of that, and so you have coping mechanisms to know, okay, I'm getting away from that.
And
Most
most people don't even realize that that's what's happening to them,
Right, and
They
it's
just think,
crazy.
oh, I want that now. Oh, I can have that. It's okay. It's like they don't think that they're being sucked into it.
Well, at least I say back in our days, at least back in the 70s and 80s, if you wanted something, you literally, and if you didn't have it in the house, you at least, outside of Chinese food and ordering a pizza, you had to get in a car and drive to go get it. But now there's Grubhub and all these different ways to be able to get whatever you want to eat delivered right to your door, DoorDash. And so
Everything's instant. Yeah.
everything's instant. I mean, pretty soon Amazon's going to have a drone dropping off whatever you want to have within 2 hours. So the problem is, you see this commercial, it enacts that addiction. You go, that craving goes, I got to have that, or else I'm not going to be able to go to sleep tonight. And so, in order to satisfy that craving, you can just pick up the phone, open up your cell phone, and dial Grubhub or DoorDash, and then within 60 minutes you'd have whatever you wanted delivered, including cake. And so
Yeah.
we really have become a society of conveniences, but it's a convenience that's killing us. And I feel bad, because it you'd be surprised that what you how differently you will feel by not being exposed to those commercials. I mean, truly, it's just amazing to me the difference in clarity, like the difference in the air. I mean, it's like the energy in the air in our place is different than it was when we had those commercials uh, for the regular TV. It's
Mhm.
crazy, but it's true. And Peggy feels the same way as I do. But then we get out there in the real world and we're bombarded with billboards and radio advertisements. And so especially in congested areas, I know like LA was very congested, DC area is congested. So imagine you're in traffic and you're in that car for an hour and a half commuting and you're being bombarded with how many different commercials. It's no wonder that you people drive through McDonald's or Wendy's or Hardee's or
Chick-fil-A.
Chick. Yeah, I mean, well, Chick-fil-A is the worst. I mean, I don't think I ever drive by a Chick-fil-A and then
It's
doesn't
always got a line.
do it always.
I don't get it.
Yeah. So, and everybody goes, "Oh, they're so good," and but again, because we've been programmed that chicken's good, not chicken fried in the seed oil.
Yeah. Have you looked at the ingredients in their stuff? The breading and all that stuff.
It's
It's
terrible. Listen,
poison.
they got the magic formula. They put together that salt, sugar, fat combo, so you're addicted to that food. And the lines around their restaurants prove that they hit a home run. They got it right.
Yeah.
So
Sad.
I don't. The only thing we can do, Brian, and you say this all the time, is that we can just live our life and share how our life is. And unfortunately, when you do share at times and share stuff that's important to you, that's been important to you, people are going to take that as an accusation to their carbohydrates or to their bread or to their food. And I know you. I know you're not accusing anyone. You're just trying to educate people that, hey, you're trying to find out what's causing this issue, and you're being told that diabetes is not reversible. But hey, listen, it really is, and you control that by what you feed your body. And if you don't feed it these certain food groups, you'll be surprised that the results happens in a very relatively quick time that
Yeah.
diabetes can be reversed.
Yeah, I've heard of people reversing it within 2 weeks. But well, maybe pre-diabetes, but it's relatively, or maybe it's the fatty liver, one of those. You can reverse that like fast if you do that.
Yeah. Our son-in-law had was diagnosed with he doesn't drink, so the fatty liver disease, but they put him on a low carb stringent diet and it reversed it as well. That's something I meant to ask you. So when you were over in Ireland, did you get a chance to see a lot of the natives that live there? Like, are they obese or are they slender? I mean, what's their weight?
You mean Iceland?
What did I say? What did I say?
Said Ireland, but
Oh
close.
God, yeah. It started with
I
an I.
think
I mean, yeah, that's next. That's in January. What about the Iceland people? Yeah, how about the Iceland people?
no, they're fairly healthy. Yeah, the tourists were fat, but but the native people that live there, yeah, I didn't notice any like
Obese
obese
people?
people.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And is that because they pretty much live off one ingredient food? I mean, are they growing their food, eating their farm raised food themselves?
probably. I mean, it's all the food. Any food that I had while I was there it was all good. It was like European food, it's just organic and like their big thing is lamb. So when you drive out into the country, all you see are sheep, fields with sheep and sheepdogs herding them, and it's like that's their thing over there.
Well,
But yeah, they're you can tell they're just healthier than Americans anyway.
yeah. Now, do they have TV over there? I mean, I'm asking this because I'm wondering if they're bombarded with commercials like we are here in the United States in the Western world.
Yeah, but we didn't hardly turn it on, so I don't know. I can't answer that question.
That's okay. So where do we go from here as people who have found their way out of the addictions of processed food? What other ways do you think that we can help enlighten people other than living our life out, which is the best that we can do going out there? I mean, I'm thinking about Rob and Carl and many others that are out there who are truly making an impact on their sphere of influence around them and
Well,
losing.
that's the way it works. Like, I mean, you can influence like one or two people, but then they influenced another one or two people, and so on and so on. You know, and it sort of just goes out from there. It's like a, you know, a ripple effect. But yeah, it's amazing. You know, I get messages every week, there are several from people saying, hey, I decided to give it a try. I've been doing it for, you know, like 10 days or something. I've already lost 50 pounds, and like just crazy stuff like that. I get those messages all the time. And they're people that I don't even know. Like I'll sort of vaguely recognize the name from commenting on stuff of mine or something. You know, every once in a while, well, like Carl or somebody, people like that, I kind of know. I didn't know Carl real well, but a lot of these people, I don't know who they are. They're just strangers, and they, you know, and I've affected them somehow, so they've tried it out. It's amazing.
Well, that's the cool thing. So, you know, I think it's just too bad that there's not a, I mean, I think there is a bigger underlying presence of that coming out. Like I think Dr. Joan Inland said it's going to have to come from the bottom up, or Dr. Oh gosh, what's our guy's name? The meat guy, the meat tribe guy. I'm trying to think what his name is. I don't know why his name is escaping me at the moment. The guy that gets up at 5 a.m. Oh gosh, what's his
Oh,
name?
Dr. Kiltz?
Yes, thank you, Dr. Kiltz. That was Kiltz. Thank you, Brian. Thanks for helping me draw that one out. Yes, like Dr. Kiltz, you know, he's got a good little army going in the morning at 5 a.m. Eastern time, and it's cool to see those people engaging and doing the meetups. And hopefully, you know, if you watched our show last week, we invited everybody to participate in the No Carb November, and we've had some people comment on our Facebook page and who started it. And it's cool to see people truly taking the challenge for real. And so,
I'm doing it.
yeah, yeah, I'm doing it too. So it's amazing, um, because I was in meetings all day today, and it was all at pastry shop. It was all at Panera's. It was all at coffee shops. Every meeting I had was at a coffee shop, and all those breads they're making and stuff. And I'm thinking, man, I'm not even tempted by it. I mean, truly, I look at it and I go, I know I used to be tempted by it. I used to be addicted to it. It's just like I look at it now and I go, yeah, I don't even want you anymore. You're
Yeah, I like bread for me is like people, they keep asking me, or you know, it's like they keep trying to justify, well, what about this kind of bread, or like, can you eat this or that? And I'm like, I don't really need it anymore. I don't even think about it. Like bread doesn't concern me.
yeah.
I don't eat sandwiches. You know, it's like I'd rather eat it with a knife and a fork without the bread, you know.
Yeah.
It's crazy that, you know, you get away from that stuff, and then you don't, you know, it doesn't attract you anymore.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing. I wish people would understand that it's more of a, I think it's more of a habit. Like you've just been more in
It,
a habit, and once you break free of that habit and you get into a form a new habit, like, I mean, truthfully, once you get the bread out of the equation, like we do ground beef burgers all the time, and Peggy's got a really cool recipe that, man, it's amazing. But you know, that with the cheese and bacon and sauteed onions and sauteed peppers, you don't want anything. The bread would take away from that taste. Like the taste, the flavor just explodes in your mouth, and the bread, it would dilute that. And
right. And I try to tell people that too. It's like, well, you know, for me, I'd rather stick with the nutrient like the the meat, the
right,
literal meat, you know, of the meal. Why eat all this filler stuff around it, you know, when I can just concentrate on where the source of the nutrients are, you know?
yeah, and that's, you know, And to be able to do that and then to eat one meal a day, one of the things I'll kind of bring this in, I was telling you off the air, Brian. Well, talking about the power of the food, there's also power. We talk about fasting, but the power of starving stuff that's not supposed to be in your body. I had a really good friend who was diagnosed with cancer probably a year ago. I ran into him at a funeral for another mutual friend of ours, and he was right in the middle of, he did not want to go do the chemotherapy, and so he decided to go outside the box. And he had read this article and researched it, spoke to whoever did this, but a 42-day fast without a single piece of food. Now, he had to take supplements along the way, but it was water and supplements, but no sugar. And it supposedly starves the cancer, and the cancer will not survive. Well, I spoke to him today, and he's cancer free. And I was just like so happy for him that he took it upon himself to do it through an unconventional way, which modern science would tell you that it's not possible. You're just going to put yourself in danger. But I want everybody to understand this for a second, because I know cancer is a real deal. I mean, there's probably not one person watching this that doesn't know somebody who's been diagnosed or fought through cancer. So I know it's a real deal. It's prevalent. I want you to understand what I believe why it's prevalent. And I think it's mainly prevalent because of the white sugar and the processed foods that we digest on a daily basis. I think that's
and the seed oils.
Yes, and the seed oil. So that combination is what's creating the cancer. So to know that somebody that I know that I care about was willing to forego what modern medicine tells you to go do, which I want everybody to understand, that you're okay with putting chemo in your body, which pretty much destroys your body, and hopes that it's going to destroy the cancer before it destroys you, and then to build you back. So you're willing to put toxins in your body to kill a cancer that's been, in my opinion, has been growing on the sugar, the seed oils, and the processed foods that you've been feeding your body. But to sustain from that for 42 days, then the cancer starved. Just think about the benefits of what we talked about, one meal a day or intermittent fasting, and that 3-day fasting, 72-hour fasting every now and then resets your clock and cleanses your body. But there's so many things out there that are fully available that doesn't cost you thousands of dollars that you have to go pay someone to go live a healthier lifestyle. Like, it doesn't cost you anything to fast.
It saves you money, actually.
Right. And people say this all the time, because the only thing they see is like the pictures of the ribeyes or the prime rib or the meat. And they say all the time, I don't know how you guys can afford to go out there and eat that. And Peggy's like, but that's the only meal. That's the only meal we have for the day. That's it. And
you can keep it in the freezer. It doesn't go bad. It's just.
Well, that's what she says. We don't throw food away. Back when we used to eat the vegetables and all that other side dishes stuff, it goes bad in the fridge. There's nothing that goes bad. We keep it in the freezer. We pull it out the night before. We cook it. We sous vide it. We smoke it. And what we don't eat, we package up and we'll eat it the next day, or we'll make something else out of it. But we no longer waste food. And so we truly devour and utilize every bit of food that we buy. But yes, meat is expensive. Everything's gone up. But the fact that we're no longer controlled by food and we only eat it one time a day, it's saving us money, and we're not wasting any food. I mean, it's like when you buy, and I love avocados, don't get me wrong, but avocados are either hard as a rock, or they've gone bad. Like, they got 30 minutes where you can actually eat them when they're ripe. And I love them. When they're like that, I love them. But when you buy the big bag and they all go right the same 30 minutes, I can't devour 6 avocados all at once. I mean, I guess I could.
I did find out right before I stopped eating them, I've discovered a trick. If you leave them like on a sunny windowsill so they ripen,
Right.
When they get to that perfect spot, then you put them in the refrigerator, and it'll extend their life for like 3 or 4 days, where you can leave them in there and they'll stay in that state
Okay. Well,
in case you ever need that info.
no, no,
I don't.
I mean, I love avocados. I haven't had them in a long time. Matter of fact, I'm truly just been eating. The only thing I've been eating has been literally beef or eggs, um, and that's it. So,
Yeah, me too. Well, beef, bacon, and eggs.
yeah, beef bacon, yeah, bacon, beef
Oh,
bacon.
and venison.
Yeah, I saw that you had some. Was that a couple days ago? I saw you post something.
Yeah. So, well, a friend of mine sends me well, he sent me it a while back, and I still had some down in the freezer, and I had forgotten what I had down there. So I pulled the bag out, and there are a couple of deer hearts still in there. And then there was this package of the ground venison. And I thought, I should use this. And plus he messaged me this week, and he sent me a whole nother batch. So I was like, well, I better eat this other stuff too. So but it was good. It worked out perfect for that little egg loaf thing that I made it in. It was really good.
Yeah, that looked. I mean, I agree with what Emily described. It looked like a meatloaf, only different. So it looked like it was truly a loaf. So did you bake it just like you would a meatloaf?
Yeah, I used one of those meatloaf dish things. It's the dish that's for a loaf of bread or something.
Right.
And I fried some bacon first, and then I lined the bottom of the dish with bacon, and then I used the pan that I fried the bacon in to fry the venison in, because it's lean. So I used bacon fat to fry it and brown it, and I put a little bit of salt and stuff in there, and then I dumped that in the dish, and then I scrambled up 6 eggs and with heavy cream, and dumped that in there, and then I topped it with I sprinkled it with pork panko, and oh no, actually with the eggs I had some smoked goat, this hard goat cheese, and I grated it and mixed it in with the egg. So it was an egg cheese mixture. So I poured that in with the meat, and then I topped it with pork panko and grated Parmesan. So it gave it like a crispy top.
And how long did you bake that? You baked that at what temperature and for how long?
350. I was probably maybe 20 minutes. I kind of went by sight. So I don't know exactly how long it was. It's somewhere around there, but I waited until the top started to brown, and it was bubbling and stuff. So, and then you let it rest for like 5 minutes, and then you just slice it and pull it out.
Well, it looked good. It looked good. So
Oh,
I
it was.
I'm thinking about today's. I mean, we record this on Wednesday, and I know Friday's weather is supposed to be bad. I was telling you, I want to make a big old pot of chili, but I'm thinking tomorrow's supposed to be pretty nice. Maybe I got a brisket. I think I got a brisket in the freezer. I'm thinking about maybe I'll smoke the brisket and make the chili out of your brisket, your idea that you had.
Oh, yeah.
So you haven't tried it yet, have you? You talked about it, but you haven't done it.
No.
I may do it. I may do that for this if I can thaw it out and smoke it tomorrow, depending on my schedule. And then Friday that would be good. Hey everybody, I just want to let you guys know, please tune in next week. We got a special guest. You're going to love this person. So I know, Brian, you do meditation. This is going to be a very special guest. And I don't want to steal her thunder, but she's going to tell us what she does as far as yoga and her in the language in which she speaks to bring up those positive energies and the positive vibes, and how we can empower ourselves to be more energetic and in a more positive mood as we go through our day. And I know one of the things that I enjoy doing is I talk about this all the time is the Wim Hof cold shower and cold water, and And so that's one of the ways that I do it. And then I don't know if they have them in Nashville, but there's a gym called Fit 20. Have you ever been to one of those, Brian?
No.
You work out. It's a 12-minute workout once a week. So all you need to do. It's crazy. And they have these 6 pieces. I mean, you do this anyway. It's band resistance training. So it's pretty much like your X bar, except it's a more sophisticated machine for a different muscle group. And they have 2 air conditions in this gym that keeps the temperature 64 degrees or lower. So you're able to go work out in a suit, so you don't sweat. So it's so cold in there, you're like in a fridge working out, and it's banned, and it's a computer thing that's literally, you follow what it tells you to do, and it literally exhausts your muscles, to the point that it gets so deep and exhausted. And then that's all you need to do. It takes a week to recover from that. So
Hmm.
it's a workout, 12 minutes a week, and you have a coach that coaches you through to make sure you're doing the correct format or form. Um, and then they track all that. But yeah, literally 12 minutes a week. It's all you work out for. And the results are amazing. And you see the improvements because every week you go there, you're seeing your numbers, and you're seeing your numbers improved. And so
Hmm.
it's called Fit 20. So it's 12 minutes of workout, and it's 8 minutes being yelled at by the coach to tell you, don't stop. No, they go over the results with you. So they're great. But yeah, if you haven't tried one, you should try one. I'm sure there's one in your area. They're all over the place now.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'll see I'll poke around and see if there is one around. But
Yeah.
I'm a little leery about going to a gym. I don't know. I joined one right before I left California, so I ended up losing out on my membership. But it was a really nice gym too. It was huge. But now that I have my own private thing downstairs, it's like I don't know. But that sounds interesting.
Well, here's what's cool about it. So it's private. So it's only one person in that training center at a time. So you're not with anybody else in there. So it's just you and your trainer.
Well,
Because
that's cool too.
yeah, so I mean it's like $120 a month, I want to say. But it's, you're having a private trainer. I mean, you only have to work out 12 minutes. I mean, now that I've got this whole streaming thing down and watching some football games in 34 minutes, I'm like, what else can I reduce down in time and get more out of life? So
Yeah.
if I do 20 minutes a week and I'm done, hey, sign me up. So
But
um,
that was kind of the concept between that X3 bar thing that I do. You just each it's just a 15-minute workout. It's real short, and you just do it till failure, like each move till failure, and that's the point of that, because the further you go out with the bar, the heavier the weight. So it's supposed to be easier on your joints and all that stuff. But that was the concept behind that, is like just really quick workout, but you go until failure
right.
with
Well,
every
that's
exercise.
well, that's the same thing that this equipment does at different things, but it's motion. So I think it's more of a timing thing, and it's more to make sure you're doing it correctly. So this computer is literally measuring, your strength as you're doing the bar out, and of course, it's constant pressure the whole time, so it's coming back to you, and then you're going through 3 reps of these different cycles, and then the last one, which you're feeling it, like you're like, oh my god, I'm not going to be able to do one more, and then you have to hold it there, and it's like for 10 seconds, and your muscles are just exhausted. I mean, they're just burned out. And
Have
then
you done it?
yeah, I've done it. Yeah, I'm doing it. It's amazing. But I wanted to get the X bar, and I just missed out. I mean, hopefully it comes back out for the real Black Friday, but they just had a early Black Friday. They had that thing for $359 instead of 500. I was like, oh, I can't believe I missed out on that.
Yeah, maybe they'll do it again.
I'm hoping so. If they did it once, they'll do it again. But anyway, So yeah, I'm all about compressing and eliminating commercials, eliminating carbs for November, eliminating long workouts, everything I'm just eliminating out of my life right now. I mean, that's
Eliminating meals down to one. Yeah.
yeah, that's it. Yeah.
It's all about consolidating.
That's right. So that's where I'm at. So anyway, Brian, I know I've been sharing my tips of eliminating, but what's one thing you've incorporated in your life that's benefited you that people have made it this far along in the show? They would benefit from it.
I would tell these people, eat your meat.
And I would second that. Hey, everybody, thanks for tuning with us on another Friday night. We'll look forward to seeing you next Friday. Make sure you tune in because we have a great guest for you next week. Brian, have a great gig in Pittsburgh, and happy birthday to your sister. And in the intertime, everybody stay safe, stay well, stay kind, and stay out of the hospital. And we'll see you next Friday night, everybody.
See ya.